It seems to me, though, that particularly now talking to yourself and talking to Christopher, that there's a little bit it seems to come out that the athlete's dream scenario would be to do less of the competing and more of the videoing, the free riding, and go more down that route and try and make a career out of getting good sponsors, being paid to go out free riding, creating videos. Do you think that in the long run will have any detriment to contest and the way maybe competitions are sponsored or the prestige that competitions will be held in?
No, I mean, I think if you look back through the last 10, 15 years, I think most riders would say, oh, I'd love to, just be able to go off and film video parts and do whatever I want with my friends. But there's only a very small number of riders who can actually have that level that allows them to do it. You're talking Giggy, Nicholas, JP Walker, Jeremy Jones in the US, like those kind of riders who are just so, when people watch their video parts, they're so enamored by it. Mm-hmm. I think there's only a very small percentage of them. If you're a middle of the road guy putting out video parts, it's like, do people hang on every trick in your part? No, probably not. And so I think contests will always have that thing. And I think as well, like when you look from a brand's perspective, I mean, if you think, Red Bull, Monster, Burn, any energy drink, I mean, they're going to want to put their money to an event which is seen by people at an event. If you think Aaron Stahl, there's like 30,000 people there. Yeah. They're people who see the brand, they see the riders, they have the experience. And it's like they can watch a video at the end of the year for sure, but would they rather put their money into that one experience where it's like, you live it, you breathe it, there's bands, there's riders, the whole thing, or do you want to just sit at home and watch a video at the end of the year? Mm-hmm. Probably it's going to be the one which, activates people and the big event.
Mm-hmm. So looking at then, again, more from a brand perspective, a lot of brands and a lot of companies set up, if they're going to target the action sports genre, it seems that it's essential that they have some sort of team of riders. What exactly do Nike 6.0 look for in their team of riders, and how does that link back into promoting the brand and leveraging a brand on a global scale like Nike 6.0?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, they've got to reach the requirements which I would look for, in actual snowboarding and ability. That'd be the first thing. Some kid could have an amazing blog or something, but that doesn't make them a good enough rider to make the cut. That would be the first thing. Contest results in history, and also, look into the future. I mean, a lot of the riders that we're working with are potential for the next few years, guys we can work with for the next 5, 10 years. And so, that's another thing, the sort of potential they've got, results they've had, technical ability. Then you look into like marketability, how much do kids look up to these guys? I mean, you see nowadays there's some riders who kids just love. I mean, the best example is like if you look in the US, you've probably got Shaun White on one hand who, won all the Olympics, and the mainstream love him. But then you've got Danny Davis on the other hand, who is, kids just hang on his every word. Mm. And he's just like sort of coolness personified for most kids, whereas Shaun White is still that kind of geeky kid with the orange hair. And that's, and that's the kind of the balancing act behind it. You want to make sure you've got a guy who you can market well. And I think quite often as well nowadays, a lot of brands are also looking to ensure that the riders they're working with have also got strong links to, big accounts, big shops. So they can obviously leverage that as well.
Sure. And the online presence then that you try to establish for these athletes, in today's day and age, what would you say is more important, having that strong online presence, or is it the core publications and the core magazines? Are they still important, or is it all about now the online presence and integrating that with your marketing activity?
I mean, the thing is, I think print media is always going to be a strong thing and probably the strongest. There's always a lot of talk about where it sits and things like this. you know, people have said, oh, is DVD going to replace magazine? Is this going to replace that? But it's kind of like, you know, it's like when you go for dinner, you can't just have meat. You need potatoes and you need some vegetables. So, you know, you need to have your magazine, but then as well as that, you know, you need to have a blog or an online website, videos and stuff. And then as well as that, you'd obviously need like to go to some contests as well. And so I think nowadays it's less clear cut where, you know, I think 5 years ago people could say, what do you do? And it'd be like, oh, I'm a contest rider, or I film video parts for pirates. Now it has to be a little bit more of a rounded offering by the athlete, or else you can't, you know, you're not really going to be as much value as the rider who is doing that.
Yeah, sure.
And you know, I mean, the thing is print coverage. I think as well with the internet, so much of the internet is here today, gone tomorrow, and it's great to get a couple of thousand hits on your blog or something. But you know, if you get the cover of a highly prestige magazine like Transworld or Pleasure or Method, Onboard, you know, you get the cover of that, it's like, oh wow, that's, you know, real deal. And it still carries a lot of prestige with it.
Okay.
And I think it always will as well.
Okay, well, to close up then, Jonathan, to put you a bit on the spot, do you think we'll ever see the day where an athlete can just make a career out of having a really strong online presence, a really good marketing presence, and never ever need to do the competition?
I think you could see that. Yeah, I mean, I think you can definitely. If the question is, then the rider needs to have the backing from somewhere to pay for all this stuff. You know, if a rider came into my room today and he was like, right, I'm the greatest rider in the world, I don't want to do any contest, but I need 20 grand a year to pay my filmer and my photographer, and we're going to do this website, there would be every chance they could do that. But the question is, would someone take the chance to put the money into that? I mean, I think, you know, you definitely see, I mean, Haldor and Ike are the best examples. I mean, for sure, Haldor won X Games, but it's like, you know, he has created a niche for himself. You know, it's the same in skateboarding. If you look at the Berrics, you know, those guys have created a niche for themselves right there. Like, Eric Costa and Steve Brer, then they don't have to do any video parts or any contests again, because they've got a website now which just rises above everything else in skateboarding. And I think you'll probably see that with Helgerson's as well. It just is one step above everything else because it's daily created content. Yeah.
Jonathan, thanks very much for your time. Been very informative, and hopefully get you back soon and chat to you about whether internet created the video star.
Go and watch Eurogat, kids.
No worries, Jonathan. You have a good day.
Thank you. Bye.